I still remember vividly being in my seat in the theater when the Universal Pictures logo started up and they started playing this stupid fucking rockabilly song, and I just started clenching. Where's my serious Halloween? What's happening? And then the blue font comes up and I'm like, motherfucker, this is them doing Season of the Witch.
It's insane, right? Art the Clown.
I'm something different.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to another Modern Horror Movie Talk. I'm your host, Tyler Nichols, and we have a supersized episode. We've got Lance Felchuk as Hunter S. Thompson. We've got Andrew Hatfield as Scooby-Doo. And that is Mike Conway in the Ghostface mask. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this. It's going to be a bit chaotic, so it's going to be a little, we'll see how it goes. And I'm not wearing that the entire time. I'll probably, I have a big thing on my head from this, but for those that are unaware, this is from a movie that came out on Friday the 13th called Dark Harvest. I'm not going to speak to the quality of the film, but I got a cool mask out of it, so I wanted to utilize it. So for those that are unaware, we are going to be discussing the David Gordon Green Halloween trilogy, which I think is very apropos since Exorcist Believer just released, and there is a lot of talk about the proposed trilogy. So we're going to essentially go through each individual movie, give our own opinion, and then at the end we will discuss that movie, move on to the next one in the series, do that, and then we'll do a big discussion at the end. So like I said at the beginning, this is a super-sized episode, so stay tuned. It should be a fun one. So in regards to Halloween 2018, I used to love this movie a lot. Nowadays, I think it's perfectly fine. Stuff that didn't bother me before bugs me more now that I know where the story ends up. Like that intro at the asylum, I think is really, really stupid and could be completely cut from the film and there would be no difference in it. There's stuff I really love, like the soundtrack is phenomenal. I still put this score on just to listen to because I think it even improves upon the original, which I know is sacrilegious. The stalking sequence is my favorite thing from any of the sequels, literally any. It takes the stalking sequences from 2 and improves upon them in every way. Then Jamie Lee gives a great performance. I think Andy Matichak as well. I think they were setting up the Allison character really well in this film. And I also really love the motion light sequence, the babysitter sequence, and pretty much the whole final interaction with Laurie. And it ends on such a badass note with Laurie setting up the trap for Michael and leaving him to burn that if this was the only film and there wasn't a follow-up, I would be rating this a lot higher. But as is, this is my highest rating of the series at a 7 out of 10. Lance, how do you feel about 2018?
I hate this movie so much. I've never liked it. I was screaming in the theater. Here's the deal. My biggest issue with Halloween 2018 is it's very reactionary. I know there's a lot of hoopla with the Rob Zombie movies, and as much as I would defend some of those, I understand like they definitely deviated from what Michael Myers is. But Gordon Green and everybody's come out saying, well, he's not going to be a sister anymore. We're going to fix that. He's going to be human. He's not going to be this sort of monolithic, unstoppable killer. I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of dumb. We're going to know all of them. Except for the first. And I was like, okay, well, we've done enough timeline changes. Fine, whatever. So I watched this movie and I feel like every idea that tried to then be reactionary and fix what people hated before came off goofy. Very specifically, having be podcasters in this era is dumb. I'm sorry. Like, yes, This American Life and maybe some sort of, reputable podcasters exist, but also Tim Dillon and Bray Kreischer talk and joke all the time. We're past that era. So it's dumb that they're holding fucking H5 Zoom mics up to Jamie Lee Curtis and trying to be authentic. That's goofy as fuck. Michael Myers is an mental institution. And he's human, except for when he stomps on the doctor's head and it explodes and has all sorts of superhuman strength. So they contradict that. And then Michael Myers is not Jamie Lee Curtis's sister in this one, right? I mean, I know the name is Laurie Strode. You get what I'm saying? Okay, fine. Then why is Laurie in the fucking movie? Well, we're gonna have Dr. fucking what's his name, Satan or whatever, stupid fucking doctor, drive him over to see where it happens. It's like, then just make him the fucking sister. Because no, it's stupid. Why didn't he just like a dog wander out? You know, fucking, he's not like stuck in the yard. He can just go somewhere else. So it wanted to be something so much more and so classier and so better. And it ended up being the same trash we got before, but not as good, not as classy, not as fucking cool. That is my argument.
Rating.
I don't know, 4 out of 10.
Good. Get to follow the person that hates this movie the most out of the four of us. So
Good.
Not to, I mean, I don't want to completely retread what you said. Score for me is really good. I don't think it's better than the first one, but I do think it's probably the best. I do like that's how they brought Carpenter back. You know, he's just a cranky old man who wants to play video games now, apparently, and do music as a side gig. So the fact that they brought him back to do that, and I completely disagree with Lance. I think having Laurie Strode there and not being the sister makes it relevant. I thought her having that PTSD, that life ruining stuff, I think it's great. I think her performance is incredible. I like the two girls. All of the other kids are awful. The two boyfriends are awful. The best friend is awful. Most of the humor I don't care for. And you can tell, like, the little kid that the one girl's babysitting, that's all those lines were probably written by Danny McBride. And it just feels like that's him having a conversation with it. But I do mostly like this. I do agree. Like, I don't care for the podcasters at all. I like the opening. I like the idea of that. I don't care about them at all. And I thought that, especially the one guy who ended up being in the Game of Thrones sequel show as a Lannister later, he's terrible in this. Like, he's trying so hard, but I do like it. I like that, they kill off the kid early on when he escapes from the bus. And so they show you they're not messing around. And then they play with that when they're doing the long POV take and he walks by the baby and you're like, is Michael Myers really going to kill a baby right now? And then he walks past it, but it sets up the fact that he could have. Yeah, the other stuff, I like Will Patton, although he's got the worst line in the whole movie when Laurie Strode's like, I dreamed he would come out so I could kill him. And he's like, well, that was a dumb thing to dream about, or something along those lines. And the delivery in the line is terrible. And that brought me to most of the dialogue. It's just Toby Huss, who I love as the dad married to Judy Greer. I love him, but he was a caricature in this. And then there was no emotion when he died. Similar to Tyler, I really liked this movie when I saw it in theaters, and I've seen it 3 times since then, including recently. And it kind of goes down a little bit each time. But for me, this is still where Halloween, pun intended, this is where Halloween ends for me. I could watch this as a timeline. I could finish this. I could watch it standalone. For me, this is an 8 out of 10.
All right. So I've been a diehard Halloween fan since 1995 or 94, whenever I first saw Halloween 4. I was preparing to watch Halloween 6 in the theaters. So I stuck with this thing in the theaters ever since then. Saw all the good ones, all the bad ones. When this was announced, I was pumped because I love David Gordon Green. I like all of his other movies, his dramas, his comedies. So when I saw this in theaters, I thought it was fantastic. My wife, not so much. She thought it was just okay. And I was like, I don't see it. I've seen it a couple times since then. It does go down in quality each time I watch it, just like Andrew said, except for the last time, but I watched it the other night. There are some dumb things in this movie that stick out. Like whenever Laurie goes up to the restaurant to meet up with the family, she just takes like a sip of wine. And then her daughter Karen's like, I told you this would happen. And, she really overreacted over a sip of wine. I thought that was ridiculous. Cameron, he didn't bother me much this go round. And I have to disagree with Andrew. The other boyfriend, I thought he was great. He went in to go save his girlfriend. And he even got the tattoo of, about to mark the occasion. The other thing that sticks out to me like a sore thumb is Dr. Sartain. Whenever he puts that mask on, it just reminds me of something Rob Zombie would do in one of his movies. I just thought it was really, really hokey and cheesy. Him as a character, I thought was really cheesy. I know he was supposed to be new Sam Loomis, but it just didn't work for me. Everything else I thought was great. However, I do like Laurie's turn better in H2O than this one. But I get what they're going for. They're going for the PTSD. They're making her like Sarah Connor. So, I mean, it doesn't take me out the movie. But everything else I thought was wonderful. I don't want to repeat what everybody else said about the score because we all agree that the score is fantastic. So that's where I stand with that one. And I will give it an 8 out of 10 as well.
Okay, so we get open discussion about the Halloween 2018. So I kind of forgot about Sartain. He is definitely the worst reveal that they could have done. And it's so when I saw this originally, because I loved this movie when it first came out, and that was my one negative. I was like, everything else is perfect, but Sartan, what were they thinking? Obviously, I've changed on other stuff since. But what do you guys think about the kills? Because I was thinking about it earlier. It's like there's not really much in terms of kills in this movie that like leave an impact.
Well, it's
My
not
favorite.
That's right. I'll let you talk.
That's exactly what I thought would happen.
No.
I tried to talk it quick before Mike started talking. Again, I don't care for the podcasters. I thought it was effective when Myers just drops the teeth over the stall. I thought that was actually kind of menacing. Mm-hmm. And then the stuff he does, like how he uses the hammer and then he kills a lady in her house, and then takes her knife and then goes to the next house. Although I don't buy like all these people seeing a grown man walking around, with a knife. I know not all of them know that he escaped, but the kills that we see, they're brutal. But I think we're also kind of tainted by how brutal the next two sequels are, because those kills are especially brutal in the other two movies. So I think they kind of tone these ones down just by default.
Yeah.
Actually, my favorite kill in the movie is one that you can barely see, is whenever he's at the little gas station and you can just see him slaughtering this guy in the background, and it's just out of focus. And that's something that reminds me of like the classic Halloween where you just see him do something in the background. So that one I thought was really awesome. It's one of those, hey, did you see that?
Lance, come on. What do you want to talk about that you hate so much in this? Because I want to see this.
Well, I'm not trying to be negative. Let's start off with the positive. The one take where he gets the hammer and then does the kill and goes, I think that's fucking fantastic. I love that. There's moments in this movie that I do actually thoroughly enjoy. I just think this movie acts so better than it is that I get upset. Jamie Lee Curtis acting the way she does after one night when one guy at one point tried to kill her. It's so fucking overcat. It's so emotional for the sake of an emotional beat that it annoys me. I hate H2O with all of my life, and I lived through H2O. So it's not one of those like I watch it later on. I went to see it the opening weekend. I it's a big part of my life, and I was like, this is kind of lame. This makes that look good because she's like, I was shooting people, and it's like, whoa. This happened. It's not your brother. Like that would make sense if two happened. Two happening, yeah, you're crazy. One happening, it's like you had a bad night. You'd be a little stressed. Yeah, maybe a little anxious when fireworks go off, but you wouldn't be this way. So this is one of those like, well,
she lost her two best friends. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
she was in high school. Fuck off. Two best friends.
What?
I had a best friend in high school that I haven't talked in 30 years. It's like it doesn't matter. Like I'm sorry, you live that long, you get over it.
I'm still best friends with my best friend.
If she was but if you lost,
and did yours die in front of you, Lance? Is that why you're not friends anymore? Because that's different.
I'm saying I don't buy the emotional reaction she has. I think they want her to be that way, and they didn't earn it. That's this movie not earning a thing. So to me, it's like, well, if two existed, then fine, she makes sense. But no, two can't exist because it's not good enough. Number one's the best, which it is. But then you have this jerk off feeling where it's like, okay, awesome. But now she's Sarah Connor. Sarah Connor was told the fucking world's going to end and so Terminator. That bitch deserves to be in a mental institution doing push-ups. This girl had a fucking stressful night. That sucks. People dying in front of people in other countries and they still like build a life. I just didn't buy it. To me, this whole movie is like, look how this is happening. It's like, yeah, you didn't earn it. You didn't earn that. You didn't earn this. Michael Myers is a legend. It's like, why? Because he killed 3 people? Well, shit. Dahmer killed more. That's a legend. Gacy killed more. He's northern fucking Chicago. We have things. This guy killed 3 teenagers, and it's like the whole town is affected. I'm like, you didn't earn that. If you would have let 3 sequels exist in your stupid little timeline, we could build this thing. Myers, I actually didn't hate this movie, except for the fact that like he's a real human being. I'm like, well, then he's 72 and nothing makes sense. But they immediately forget he's 72.
They go back on that, yeah.
They do go back in the sequels, but this whole movie is pitched as, we're going to fix it. We're going to fix it. This is this movie. And it's fuck off. So, come on, guys. We're not doing anything fun. I'm glad he killed the one kid, but he didn't kill the baby. So it's like, are you going to kill all the kids or some of the kids? Pick a role, man. Pick a role. And then the baby, like the comedy in this fucking bothered me. The scene where the kid is being sassy with his babysitter, hate to death. People are like, bring that kid for the sequel. It's like, why? He sucks. And I love Toby Haas, though he will always be the strongest man in the world. And in this, he got peanut butter on his penis. So I'm like, are we going to have a good time?
God, yeah.
I love Toby Haas in this. He's like every awkward dad I've ever met. He reminded me so much of that.
They just shooing this shit.
Wasn't he in the episode of Seinfeld?
Yes.
Where he plays the, yeah, okay, that was him.
I don't mind his comedy because he's just being like a dad in it. And he does like he stands up to Lori. He tries to calm Karen down. But his death, like it just doesn't hit. Like they're like, oh no, Dad's dead. And I know it's a focal point for, Andy joining the mob in the next one. But at the time, it just doesn't, for the father and the husband, like it doesn't, they don't use it as an emotion. But
Lance will get into it in the next one.
Yeah. I really disagree with Lance on that one. Like I wouldn't even venture to guess what would happen if my friends die on Halloween night by somebody that was in an institution in the town I still lived in. Like
they're like 17. They know these friends for like 3 years. I'm sorry, they would get over it. They wouldn't be fucking crazy. The whole time wouldn't be like, oh my God.
They've been friends since they were little kids. That's like established canon.
A little kid, what's little kids? 4th grade, 3rd grade, 2nd grade, kindergarten. They know the whole fucking life. 6th grade. 5 years. You fucking kidding me? 5 years.
No, bullshit. I said 6 years old.
Oh, they said 6th grade. Yeah, I don't care. It's not an emotional arc that she deserves. I disagree.
Not to like get too personal, but like my dad lost his best friend, and like it has never been the same. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's something that can very much.
They wanted to be
someone.
Sarah Connor, and they didn't earn it because they didn't want the sequels because they want to be fucking fancy. Then give me 2 and give me 4, and then all of a sudden, guess what? She said, "I know she's dead in 4, but still, you could retcon that, or give me 2. 2 makes sense because that means she had a bad night, and then the guy came back for her. Then I'm like, okay, yeah, be paranoid, get a couple guns, some cameras. That's fair. But like one night, I don't buy her like her like I can't function in society the way I just don't. I'm sorry." Disagree.
All right. Anyone have any closing thoughts?
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking maybe she's fine throughout the rest of the year, but whenever Halloween comes, she gets triggered. I mean, maybe someone who's just a little mentally unstable, like about to be murdered and seeing all of her friends murdered.
She had her kids taken away, so she was crazy enough that it happened.
Yeah, so but yeah, like if she's like a little bit mentally unstable and she witnessed all of that, I mean, there's a chance that that's the path that she could have taken.
I'm with Conway.
Yeah, it's a path of least resistance, which is better for storytelling. They didn't earn it. H2O made more sense where she's just a little paranoid. Halloween's Lishy. That makes sense. I hate that fucking movie, but that makes more sense as a vibe. It was like, hey, it's the time of the year. I don't want you out. I get a little nervous. That's cool. Not like.
And we can now reveal that this whole thing was a setup to get you to admit that H2O is a good movie.
It's better than this, and that is so depressing to me. That is so depressing. That's like piss is better than shit. It's like awesome. What if I won? I've still lost.
One final observation, and this will be ended on a far less angry note, I hope. But when rewatching this movie, when she clicks her little garage opener and the kitchen island moves out and she goes in, so she's still got our guns. I was like, okay, in my headcanon, it says she was married twice. Her other husband was Burt Gummer from Tremors, and he like set her up with all that because he got divorced to his wife in Tremors. So same universe. They got together. He helped her build, but then they obviously couldn't last together, and then she took off. Is that okay, Lance? Is that acceptable?
Yeah. Okay. Anytime Burt Gummer is going to be tied in any sort of universe, I'm okay. And I will give one positive. I clapped one time in this movie in theaters is when she's crying and pretends she's wounded and she goes, "Got you, fucker," and shoots him. Like, that's awesome. That's what I want. That is exactly acceptable. This little girl's been trained her whole life and knows to cry out, but she knows to use the gun and knows how to aim. And so that is something that's cool, tying into that part of the island being.
Yeah, that's the kind of moment that, like, if this movie gets released, like re-released in theaters, I'll go specifically because I know that there's cool moments and the soundtrack. I will go to see anything if I like the score in theaters, just because you get to experience it so much more than when you watch something at home. This is one that came out during like the pandemic, straight to Peacock. So I think everyone watched this one from home and didn't get that theatrical experience. I need to state right from the onset that I think this movie is dumb as fuck. And despite the fact that I will have rated Halloween 2018 higher, I like Halloween Kills more. I mean, I fully acknowledge the terrible Tommy Doyle stuff, like his monologue in the bar as we flash back to scenes from the original movie, and even scenes that were just happened like 10 minutes earlier on in the film. And then the evil dies tonight nonsense, all of that. Cut it all. I've even watching this, like rewatching it for this, all I could think was, oh yeah, I think I need to cut a version of Halloween Kills that just gets rid of all that Tommy Doyle stuff. So for when I want to rewatch it, because that I can make that into like a hour, 5 minute movie that just flies along with Michael killing left and right. But I love the slasher elements in this film. It's just Michael killing dudes left and right. There's a bunch of dumb stuff that happens, but I enjoy it because it's Michael killing dudes. Because a lot of the other entries in the series, when they do dumb shit, there's not enough of Michael killing dudes. This one too, we are start to see the regressing of Andy Matichek's character, like her going back with her douchebag boyfriend. But fine, that's teen love, and it's been a traumatic 24 hours. I can accept that. I won't be able to accept some other things that happen later, but I need to see what this film would be without the stupid Evil Dies Tonight to fully get a good gauge on how I really feel. But like my final rating for this would be a 6 out of 10 because I enjoy it, but the trash is just so evident, so evident.
I watched this the second it was released. It was at night, whatever day that was on Peacock, because I of course watched it on Peacock, nowhere else. My first reaction was it is very silly, and I watched it like the next day because I was like, it's such a weird vibe. And I watched it later that week, and where I've come to realize is that I love this movie. I will admit right now it is stupid as fuck. It is so dumb, and nothing is earned. This continues a trend. The whole trilogy by David Green is I want to have an emotional beat but never earn it. And in this movie, it's my favorite because I know what I love the most. Tommy Doyle's Evil Dies Tonight. It's so heavy-handed. It's so unearned. It doesn't make any fucking sense. He's like, me and this nurse who met fucking Loomis once. We remember the day. It's like, no, you wouldn't. Neither would she. Like, you would remember it as like, oh, fuck, I can't believe it happened. You wouldn't be celebrating like, to Lori across the street. It's like, oh, really? The nurse and you as a 12-year-old boy, or not even fucking 8 or 9. This is something you do yearly, and you cheers Laurie Strode bullshit. But it makes sense. The town is stressed because of all the kills. It's like, well, there's 3, like fucking 2 decades ago. Have you ever been to the south side of Chicago? Have you ever been to any of the south suburbs? Like, go to Harvey and tell me about 3 deaths. Like, it's just, it doesn't earn it, but it's like we're all stressed and we can't get on. But this movie does the best thing for it. It thinks it's making a drama, and then it adds a bunch of really over-the-top Jason Voorhees kills, and coming to the fire and sticking the thing in the guy's face and the chainsaw. And I was like, oh my God, I love this movie. Because it's mixed with dumb, stupid dialogue and thematic points like the penguin. You know, it's like, ah! And then he kills himself. We're all like, oh my God, I can't believe we killed him, man. It's like, I can't believe you thought a 4'3", 800-pound guy with like long, straggly penguin hair was Michael Myers. Does nobody understand height? But they're like, we're all supposed to be like, you did this. We're evil people. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. Keep going. And it just keeps going. At the end, they all beat him to death without like, I think there's one gun. It's supposed to be the Midwest, supposed to be Southern Illinois. One gun. Are you kidding me? I got 3 guns over there. There's one gun. But this girl with like an ironing, not a board, but like an iron for clothes, and some with a baseball bat, and some with a fucking shoe or something stupid. And everybody aims for the body, and then Michael Myers hulks up as he kills more. And I love it. I love this movie. I own it on a special edition steelbook. It couldn't be more dumb, and it makes me proud. I'm like, this is a movie I want. Be stupid and think you're smart. Brings me joy.
Rating.
Oh, probably a 7. A solid 7, because if I give it any more, it has to be good. 7 is like, you're stupid, but I appreciate you who you are. That's what I'm at.
I'm trying to
Formulate thoughts.
let the dust settle. I'm just sitting here like rut-row because Lance went off. He went on like,
that's his favorite, by the way.
Well, yeah, like he sounded angrier at this movie, but he likes it better. Anyway, a funny thing happened on the way to rewatching this trilogy, and I'm not proud of it, but this is my least favorite of the trilogy now, after rewatching them. And the only way I dislike more than this is Resurrection out of the entire canon. Maybe Halloween 2 Rob Zombie every now and then, but even that I enjoy. This is just, it's bad. And I mean, I spend a lot of time defending bad movies, and I spend a lot of time watching bad movies. And the pieces for this, it's not the kind of bad that would be on Mystery Science Theater. It's not the kind of bad that I can throw on when I'm having a bad day. It's just bad. I can get behind stupid. But The Evil Dies Tonight it makes my heart hurt. Like, it's not just stupid, it's just bad. Lori and the sheriff guy are in the hospital for almost the whole movie when she's supposed to be the focal point. And when people die, they're stupid. Like one of them, I think, ends up shooting themselves, or he hits the gun into her face and she shoots herself. Like the gore is fine. And even like the fan service, they went above and beyond. It becomes my friend hates a lot of Star Wars because Star Wars, instead of having this galaxy that they claim they have, they always have to tie somebody in. It always has to be someone related to a Skywalker. It always has to be a Boba Fett or a Jango Fett. And with this, we're not just bringing back Lori, we're going to bring back everyone who possibly survived. And the CGI Loomis is worse than CGI Peter Cushing from Rogue One after. His voice, the fake Loomis voice in Halloween 2018 is better than the CGI. Now, that being said, I love the opening to this movie. I love when the cops go in and they try to find him. I genuinely like that part of it. There is almost nothing else of this movie that I really enjoy, except for maybe parts of the score. But just like Halloween 2 versus Halloween 1, I don't care for 1981 Halloween 2's score as much. It gets too synthy. I know that's when Alan Howarth came in, but this is a 4 out of 10 for me. I don't ever need to watch this movie again until my 13-year-old prods me to watch every slasher film ever made. And then I'll be like, all right, you asked for this. This is on you.
Oddly enough, I've seen this movie more than the rest of the trilogy. Not because I think it's the best one. It's the one I had the most fun with. I don't really think that was a CGI Dr. Loomis, though. He was wearing prosthetics, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. All the kills in the movie were so over the top. It made me feel like I was going into an 80s style sequel where the body count has to be bigger and bloodier. And I feel like that's what they're probably going with there. It's definitely not a smart movie. And I think I can figure out where they were trying to go with it, but they just didn't nail it. But all the dialogue is so hammy and hokey. And yeah, that Evil Dies Tonight thing is ridiculous. And I hate it so much. But the rest of it, man, I love it. Especially the opening. The opening it just gave me that warm feeling like, seeing an old friend, again. The last attack on Michael, though, the way it was shot, it was so jarring. It looked like it was shot on a soundstage, just like an all black soundstage. It just looked really, really weird and bizarre. But that's really the only thing I had the problem with. It's just such a good time at the movies to me anyway. So I'd probably give this one about 7 out of 10.
I kind of forgot about the opening because I really, really like that. I think that's such a good recreation. Like it looks like straight out of 78, which I think is just phenomenal. It was prosthetics on who was it? It was a production guy.
And yeah, I remember because they took a guy, and I've seen like a side-by-side picture where it shows his face and then like him as Loomis. So I think I was so heated talking about this movie that I spoke incorrectly. But I do think like, and I get it, it's hard to mimic Donald Pleasance's voice, but the voice threw me off as well as much as they tried to make him look good. It just threw me off. Whereas whoever was on the tape recorder is the best of the fake ones. Cause I think H2O, there's somebody on a tape recorder and it doesn't sound anything like Donald Pleasance. But yeah, the opening it feels like that's their Halloween 2, right? So Halloween 2 didn't happen in this continuity. So that's their Halloween 2 when he's escaping after killing Laurie's friends. And that's Halloween 2 because it's the same night.
We didn't talk about Big Jim and Little Jim.
Right? Oh my God. Yeah, we need to talk about those guys.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Do we really
have to talk about them? Yes.
Yes.
You guys have fun.
I enjoyed that section so much. It's just, I don't know. It's entertaining. Like I like the fake out in terms of the kids going into the house and then they pay it off later with Michael going in. I like both actors so much. I remember when like the movie ended, that's another thing. It's funny you mentioned, Lance, that you watched this multiple times to start because I'd had to as well. I watched it the night of, and then I had to watch it the next day because I was like, I don't even know what happened. Yeah. And then I had to watch it again like a week later.
Like Lonnie, like we saw him once and it's like, ever since that one day, I'm like, what the fucking one day you fucking, he has like a fucking Desert Eagle. There's like 2 Desert Eagles in his way. It's like, that's like the hardest going to shoot. Like the fucking nurse is shooting a Desert Eagle one hand. Like, bitch, use 2 hands. And Lonnie's like, someone have permits. It's like, well, they don't need permits. But you're Southern Illinois, but there's why does everybody have a Desert Eagle? Is this 1992? Is this Schwarzenegger?
I do like how they brought back some really, really tiny characters from 2018 and had them die in this one, like the graveyard lady, whoever the caretaker, she was the one flying the drone, right? Yeah, I like that. And the one mental patient that was on top of the roof.
Is he in part one?
Yeah,
he's in part one.
Yeah, he's the umbrella guy, I believe.
Yes.
They got the penguin. He's the actual fucking penguin. I was just being an asshole. You fucking proved me right. Thank you. I should have brought that up my argument.
I assume that's for the reference you were making.
No, because he looks like fucking DeVito, like, forget my fucking planet. You know, he looks like that guy. He looks like fucking DeVito, like in the fucking sewers.
Does. Yeah.
Nothing like a fucking 6'2" Michael Myers, that's for sure. Different build. I want to be like, bitches, look at the build. You know, it's like the one we got waddles.
I would be very curious to know what they were thinking with that whole finale being shot. Because Mike, you brought up how it's shot.
Yeah, it is on a stump stage, like lower and it's all black and I fucking hate it.
And I think they did different frame rate and stuff, and did a bunch of like speed ramps and like.
It's not as cool as they thought it would. They were like, oh, it's gonna be artistic. It's like, but it looks like stupid.
I almost guarantee you this was said on set. It's going to be like A24.
Oh, God.
Like, I almost guarantee.
The other thing I really didn't like was the casting of Anthony Michael Hall. I don't think he worked as Tommy Doyle.
I just didn't think it worked in this, but I think the character is so bad. It's hard to differentiate for me between the character and the actor. Because I like him. I was watching The Dead Zone the other night because it's on Roku.
Oh, my God, dude. You know, that was like my whole junior high was that fucking show. And I think in high school.
That so much fun.
Like it was like 6 seasons. Like good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even though I don't like Lonnie as a character, conversely, I really like Robert Longstreet. Mike Flanagan uses him for everything.
Yes. The best part of fucking Hill House and a fucking great part in a mess.
Yeah, he's awesome. I didn't like any of that. Anthony Michael Hall, like I don't have a problem with him. I mean, I grew up with watching Weird Science on TNT, and Breakfast Club. Like young Anthony Michael Hall is great, but like at the end, like Lance, you pointed out, it's like, well, maybe the evil that died tonight was the friends we made along the way. Like after they accidentally killed him.
He was so angry. It's like, bitch, you had like one interaction, like not even. You just like ran down the street. That was your fucking interaction.
And then. The whole point is killing him, but it's like, no, evil gets beaten within an inch of its life tonight. We're not going to come in with everything else.
Gun. One guy's a gun. Are you fucking kidding me?
And he's so incompetent with that gun.
There's just like every day there's a shoot, but it's like Southern Illinois. That's a problem. It's like if you want to put a Haddonfield in fucking Southern California, absolutely bring a fucking golf club.
I mean, it kind of was originally. So
but the Illinois motherfucker, and even H6 shows you that it's past DeKalb. So my whole thing is like, dude, like you can't have one person with a gun, and like Southern Illinois is essentially fucking Kentucky. Like I'm from Illinois, and Southern Illinois, it's like they think of me as a fucking goddamn Yankee City folk. It's like no, those motherfuckers are crazy. But they even establish he gets shot like 6 times in the chest by that gun and gets back up. So you establish he's inhuman, unhuman. He's more than human. So why not just have everybody have guns, or at least 3 people with guns, and just fucking accentuate the fact that this motherfucker actually hulks up when he kills some guys and bullets can't stop him.
Yeah.
It would at least leaned into the fucking bullshit idea that they changed from part 1.
That bugs the shit out of me that they don't do anything proper with the because they made such a point of like he's human in the first one. He's like he's human, he's a human being, and then I don't know what because they even kind of forgot that in that film. But
he stomps on the doctor's head and explodes. I'm like, humans don't do that.
Yeah, and
I have great fucking thighs.
He survives the whole fire inferno in this, and like gets shot a bunch, and insane how much he gets put through, and he's also can teleport, which I mean, whatever.
But he's also in the 70s. That's a fucking problem. That's why like I never liked like he's human. It's like he can't be human with the area going for because that's lame. That's lame. Make this in 1996, make him human. But fuck you. It's like 2000 fucking 19. He's like he's human. It's like he's 78. Or 72, and they're like, well, he's a spry 72. It's like, yeah, it's still 72. I can take down a 72-year-old.
I think that's why I enjoy it so much. It's the same, like when, because I always think of that in that wide shot when he like impales the firefighter and like full on lifts him up. Where I'm like, look at this 72-year-old man. He can do it. Good for him.
Deltas and quads, but yeah, he's just fucking lifting. Yeah.
And it's like, dude, it's like all arm.
No. I mean, yeah, there's almost no back. It's just like this. It's like you could have had him fucking lean a little just to make it realistic, but it's just like
really bad wire work. But again, that's why I enjoy it. It's just fun. Like I enjoy
Evil
this
dies
one the
tonight.
most.
Of course, it's fun.
Yeah.
They say it like 100 times.
Evil dies tonight! Evil!
I'll play the devil's advocate here. Could you blame all of that on maybe just a adrenaline rush? Because people do have superhuman strength sometimes with adrenaline rushes.
But the 6 shots or the 5 shots in the chest, that's what negates it.
One instance, I'd be okay with adrenaline rush. I'm always okay with that. Like a girl does like lifts up a car, where I'm like, yep, that's technically possible.
The doctor's head and explodes. That takes amount of pressure that humans don't have. So that was when I was like, oh, motherfucker. All right. Not so human after all, huh?
It looks like 3 of us really had a good time with it, even though it's dumb as shit, and one of us just straight up hated it.
Yep, that seems about right. Okay, this is the big one. Okay, so everyone strap in. So I want to paint the picture clearly, because the end of Halloween Kills ends on big dramatic moments of Michael killing Laurie's daughter. And Laurie puts on her bloody clothes and looks like a woman on a mission. That's where we end things with Kills. And so to see her not doing shit for 5 years and being all domesticated and essentially regressing as a character, becoming a shell of herself, is like 5 steps back from hell where we saw her in 2018. So all the boneheaded decisions, like the town hating her and Michael living in the sewer, like, dear God almighty. Michael Myers does not show up until 38 minutes into this film. 38 minutes. Oh God, I hate this movie so fucking much. I watched it last night and I was so mad. Like this, it's the angriest I've been when watching a movie all year. It's lower than it's ever been on my list. I fucking hate it so much. I still remember vividly being in my seat in the theater when the Universal Pictures logo started up and they started playing this stupid fucking rockabilly song, and I just started clenching. Where's my serious Halloween? What's happening? And then the blue font comes up and I'm like, motherfucker, this is them doing Season of the Witch. And I cannot disagree more with that sentiment, because Corey Cunningham is the worst character the Halloween franchise has ever introduced. He's such a fucking goober. It's an even bigger insult that he's inspired by Arnie from Christine, who I absolutely adore and is such a well-written character.
What was that?
The "what have you done" into the credits is so fucking funny, and there's so many like unintentionally funny moments in this movie. I hate the credit sequence. The pumpkins shifting looks so bad and fake. I don't know how they went from all the other pumpkins to what they did in that sequence. I cannot believe how, like, it's awful. Jamie Lee's narration is laughably bad. It makes me dislike her performance in 2018 a little more. There's one point where she's like,
he took our dreams and turned them into nightmares.
The delivery is so bad, and pretty much anything she does that's a voiceover is just awful. Like, her Oscar should be taken away because it's that bad. It made me so angry to the point that I can't say Jamie Lee Curtis is a good actor anymore. Andy Matichak has been reduced down to a character of girlfriend with no brains, which, by the way, 60% of this movie is a love story between Allison and the Corey character, which is so poorly done. She just like throws herself at him, and he has no interesting qualities. And most of the things that we know about him is he killed a kid accidentally, but he killed a kid. Let's see. The one lady berating Laurie in the parking lot is some of the angriest I've been while watching a movie, and it gets me every time. I hate her so much because her logic is pure bullshit. Like, just pure bullshit.
You tempted and you provoked that man when you should have left him alone.
So awful character, awful interaction, and just serves to bring Laurie down. I hate that we got a series of films setting up for a final showdown between Laurie and Michael, only for it to be 15 minutes at the end and 5 years of waiting around. And so there are movies that I'm like, you know what? I could see myself coming around to at some point, but no. I will always have a hate for this movie that goes down to my insides for the simple fact that I hate that everything this movie represents, because I can break down. This is literally, I had to stop 38 minutes in because it was nonstop anger notes. And I also kind of figured, okay, Lance can take over with with some of the second half stuff. But yeah, I really fucking hate this movie. It's a 2 out of 10, worst in the franchise. I will watch Resurrection 20 times more than I will watch this. I cannot say enough bad things about it. So, yep, I hated it. Lance, what about you?
We tend to agree on this one. I watched it the second it came out. After hating 2018 and loving Halloween Kills, I was like, well, where is this one going to go? But they were actually setting it up in a lot of the interviews and the pre-press. Gordon Green, and I think even Jamie Lee Curtis, like, you're not going to like this. It's going to be very divisive. And I was like, ooh, that's a weird thing. And then there was a leak from the test screenings about a copycat. Here's the thing. If you set up your film with a kid falling, it's just being tense, and all I could think is Bud or Al Bundy falling off of the roof from Married with Children, that same like fucking look. That I mean, it's like, oh, that's not good. That's kind of funny. And then we spent all this time, this like jack dude with a baggy shirt who's not ripped, pretend not to be ripped, getting bullied by band camp kids who are like clearly half his size, half his weight, and fucking little feathers in the wind. I was like, oh, we're doing. And Lori's a little stressed, but she's trying to make a better life. I'm like, that's the fucking shit that should have been 2018. Like, it's reversed. So wait a second. She watched her, like, one friend, basically. She didn't watch shit bullshit. She was attacked once and her friend were dead. That's a fucking stressful situation. And she got help. But she was fucking doing fucking, weight lifts, shooting her fucking dummies and practicing drills in 2018. Okay, which means that, like, her life is so fucking changed by one event. Then that guy comes back, kills a lot more people in a far more interesting way, and her daughter. And she's like, hey, we got to move on. We got to live a better life. It's like, well, how about you live a better life before? And now this entry starts with you fucking being crazy and fucking, I'm going to kill this motherfucker. That's more of the logic I want. But this, she's like baking cookies and being like, fuck them. I'm like, baking's hard. That's a whole different skill. So you do not give a shit, but you're learning fucking measurements. That's what we're doing their time. And then some fucking little bitch gets pushed around too much and becomes the main character of a movie. It's like, listen, all you need to do is continue on from the night before. And then I looked up this and correct me if I'm wrong, but I was told that like the plan was the 3 movies were going to take place for Halloween day and night. And then 2020 happened, and then David Gordon Green probably smoked a joint, thought he was fucking smarter than he was, and then made this where it's like, what if a guy was inspired and was sad and made it? I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Like, this isn't fucking, Shawshank. Just end the series. You could have a couple of, you could even have that guy in it a little and be influenced, but make Michael Myers the main character. Some fucking wank that hangs out in the sewers that gets bested by a child and then has like a love lock, and I'm supposed to be fucking cool with it. I mean, some of the best kills aren't even from Michael. It's from fucking Corey. What the fuck? What is going on here? Like, now we're in complete reverse. We're in Bizarro Jerry mode watching this movie. And sure, Bizarro Jerry is interesting, but I want fucking Jerry. Give me fucking Link. Give me George. Give me Kramer. What are these fucking people trying to be the same thing? It's not the same. Now I'm just watching some fucking movie of people getting killed the same Halloween. I got fucking Corey getting to kill sites. Either he's fucking taking Michael on his back of his bike, or Michael's fucking walking 8 miles. That doesn't make any sense. How would they even time it out? It's like, hey, I'll be there too. I guess you'll be there at 8. Or I'll meet you there at 8, or give him a fucking ride. Or put him in a wagon, fucking walk. It doesn't make any sense. This movie's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. It's not even fun. That's his biggest sin. It's not even fucking fun. I'm bored. At least kill somebody. Have Michael and him ride a bike together. I'd be like, okay, well, now you have my attention. What is the relationship? Does he love him? Do they love each other? Are they in love? I want people to be happy. Who the fuck am I to fucking deny happiness? But instead, I get some stupid movie where we don't even get to watch Darcy the Maid Girl die in her fucking cameo. We just, hey, he's just like I have a motorcycle. I'm hot. I'm like, bitch, Bandcamp people push you around. Sit down and know your place.
Rating.
I don't know, 2 or 1? 2. I'll say 2 to be nice. 2 out of 10.
I'm gonna try hard here. And don't get me wrong, I kind of want to give the rating ahead of time. I gave Kills a 4. I would only give this one a 5 because this isn't a good movie. And of all the things he could have cut, why cut Darcy? There's a lot more you could have cut in this movie. But I always have and always will appreciate the movies that try to go out of the box. Now, I too am angry that people consider this like Halloween 3 because no, this isn't the same universe. Halloween 3 is a completely different universe. Connell Cochran puts on a VHS or turns on the TV and Halloween 1 is on TV. That's brilliant. That's a way to do it. This is trying to do something different. So I don't like the comparisons of Season of the Witch. I do like that they tried to do something different. I am a Friday the 13th Part 5 apologist with Roy as the killer. I know people like to say that 2 is the outlier, but 2 is still a Nightmare on Elm Street. In fact, it's a lot darker than a lot of the later ones. I consider New Nightmare the outlier because that again is you're following the actors. I love that one. And then I like the stupider series. I like when Hellraiser goes to space. God help me. I like when Leprechaun does that. This movie, I was at least intrigued. Kills was pissing me off the entire time. This, I was like, okay, where are you going to go with this? What are you going to do with this? I did laugh. Lance, you brought it up, but this yoked out kid, it reminded me of when Rainier Wolfcastle in The Simpsons is at school being a nerd and they're picking on him. It's like, dude, he can rip you in half. What are you doing? I didn't like how hateable all the characters were. I did like some of the crossroads, like when Laurie runs into him outside the market and she kind of tries to be kinder to him, which ends up biting her in the butt. I liked that it kept being different. I wasn't as angry that Myers didn't appear for the first almost 40 minutes. They made stupid rules throughout this entire series, but they tried to follow it with him being weaker, at least. I want to try to give them credit for that with him not being close. But he ended
stronger though. No, he ended stronger though. So yes. Why the fuck is he weak? Why? What's the excuse from fucking A to C?
If you go back to the first movie, when Dum Dum Doctor is in the car with Andy, and he mentions Laurie, that's when Michael starts to wake up again. After he'd already been hit hilariously by the sheriff, and he was dead. In this
movie, they establish it. He got his power from killing and being more vicious.
Sure, and like I said, they make stupid rules, but then the fact that he got near killing her again, he got stronger. Or the fact, who knows? Maybe it's because his little friend in whatever capacity we want to call a friend.
Making him and her brother and sister would make that exact plot line mean a lot more than some fucking random girl he saw once, but that's his energy source. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
it's not even blood related.
Yes, but they didn't. And you know what? If you can't get mad at her being upset over something like that and then say him needing a bigger event to make him stronger too.
Well, they're equally as dumb. I'm just saying you can't have your cake and eat it too. Him getting stronger of her makes no sense with that brother and sister, just as much as make him getting strong killing people. It's like, what the? He's just a fucking dude.
Laurie was never getting supernatural strength from.
Yeah, she's not hulking up. No. He's remember in the fucking sewer? He's he kills one guy.
He's going full Hulk Hogan holding the ropes as he's getting wailed on from behind, and the crowd's cheering.
This isn't working. This is not working.
No, they tried to follow the rules. It's not perfect, and that's why it's only a 5 for me. But I respect what they try, and by not perfect, I mean it's not a good movie, but I at least try. I will go back and watch this before I'll watch Kills because it's different and it's intriguing to me. I do like that Corey wasn't, or what's his name? I like that Corey wasn't made supernatural. He's a strong kid, but they didn't try to. He dies, right? He stabs himself, and then Michael kills him.
He also breaks that girl's face like Sarkasian. Or is it Sartasia? Whatever.
Sartan.
Dr.
Sartan.
Yeah, he fucking explodes her head just like Sartan. So I would say he has supernatural strength.
I guess, but that's only the one time. So we can go back to that one time adrenaline use, that dad strength that I'm going to find eventually. One time in my life that I get.
And got old and got depressed. And he was a sad man in the sewer that needed a teenage boy's eye lock to feel better. That's the fucking movie. It's like.
Well, I mean. You go from eating dogs and cats in the first movies, then you get these little skinny rats in the sewer. You're going to lose your mass, right?
I didn't realize
that pulled people into the sewer. They establish
that's true.
He's eating people,
but not enough.
Yeah, not enough.
He needs the eye lock of a pretty curly haired man to fucking finally feel at peace. I'm not judging that. But I'm just saying they didn't establish that part in fucking 2018. That's all I'm saying. If they were having fucking curly-headed men walking around and he was fucking stronger, I'd be okay with this. We didn't. And all of a sudden, that's a mushroom for Mr. Mario. You know what I'm saying?
To wrap up, because I want Mike to get in here too. To wrap up, I liked it better than the first one. I liked that it tried different things, even if it didn't succeed at them. I'll admit it didn't succeed at most of it. I'd say 80% of the things they tried are just like, okay, thank you for that. I was at some point, because the movie's getting so ridiculous, right? For me, in a way that wasn't as angering as Halloween Kills, I kind of wanted him for like, if Michael Myers is going to say anything, he just goes full Danny Glover and says, I'm too old for this shit, like Lethal Weapon, and then hands the reins to Corey and just lets him go. Like, that's fine. But I understand why people hate it. I don't think it's going to be a cult classic 40 years later, like Season of the Witch has become, probably like 30 years later is when that started to really kick up. But I don't hate this one. I probably won't watch it again till my jerk son demands watching them, like I said, but I don't hate this as much as it doesn't make me as angry as Halloween Kills did. But that's all I got. Mike?
I understand why a lot of people hate this movie. Something different is the movie that it's not the movie that the trailers promised or the marketing promised. But really, man, how many times do we have to go through the same thing? Really, we had a big showdown between Michael and Laurie in the 2018 one. So why do we need to see it again? I like the fact that it starts off 5 years later, and yeah, it's a little weird how Laurie just quickly moved on, but I like the fact that she did at least try to move on. And there's parts in this movie where, especially when she's in the store with Brackett, and she's acting like a teenager again. So it's almost like she's getting to be the teenager that was the teenage life that was taken away from her. So
that's a good part with Hutton. I agree, actually. Like they're flirting. Yeah, it's fun.
Like it's adorable. It's and then it just gets taken away from her again from that bitch lady in the parking lot. All right, so that I'll start with that. So with Corey, yeah, I went into this very, very worried because I read some of the leaks. I tend to avoid spoilers, but Twitter, I couldn't help but seeing it. So I went into this very worried. My expectations were very low. After the beginning, when the kid falls down, you guys might think it's funny, but that bothered the shit out of me because I have a little kid who's almost is about that age. So it just made me think of that. And they established that, I guess that takes place 1 or 2 years later, the opening. I think it's like a year later. Haddonfield is still afraid of the boogeyman. And I normally hate it when movies say, well, this town is actually a character. But this one, it works. So in my mind, Haddonfield is the shape, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to sound like pretentious or anything, but that's what makes me think of that. So after that happens, and Michael's nowhere to be found, Haddonfield tries to create its own boogeyman in Corey, this kid who accidentally knocked some other little kid off a huge, like 3-story house or whatever. And the fact that he does get bullied around town, that's tragic to him. Band kids, okay.
No.
All right, so the band kids. At first, I thought it was a little stupid because, like I grew up in the 90s, early 2000s, thinking that band kids are a bunch of nerds and dorks. However, just last week, I had to go to the high school to drop off a check for one of the band leaders. And the band kids were in the parking lot. They were the biggest dickheads I've ever seen. When did this happen? So then right when that happened, I was like, you know what? I'm going to mention that when I talk about Halloween Ends, that band kids these days can be dickheads. And maybe it's the whole Gen Z thing. And that's another thing that I started to realize, like Halloween 2018 mainly follows Laurie, the boomer. Halloween Kills, it mainly follows like Karen. So that's your Gen X. And then with this one, with Halloween Ends, you're mainly with Corey and Allison. So that could be like your millennial or Gen Z. So I like how it kind of goes down like that. Haddonfield now turning Corey into this boogeyman. He could have gone 2 ways. He could have, tried to redeem himself, or he could have gone down the path that we saw. And ultimately, that's the path that, that was taken. So I think he had a great character arc, and that's just my opinion. I don't think we had a great character build since probably Halloween 4 with Jamie. I'm trying to gather my thoughts, man, because I know everybody's going to rip my ass. The score. I love the score for this one. It wasn't as monumental as 2018, but there's some song choices in this movie that I thought were wonderful. Like the band Boy Harsher, like a little synth pop band. I love that band. So to hear that when he's riding on a little motorcycle, that was great. The love story between Allison and Michael, that made sense to me because she, both of her parents are dead. She sees this kid that just gets like a bad rap, but she sees something good in him, and ultimately they have like this little young love romance that quickly escalates. Even she doesn't give a shit when he's like, "Hey, I murdered a kid." That's a little weird, but that love between the two of them, yeah, that love between the two of them was so strong. Like, I guess they're in an extreme honeymoon phase, and everybody's been in love at that age. So it's just something that made a little sense to me. She's still trying to stick up for him. Michael living in the sewers. I like how that was sort of a callback to Halloween 5. And yeah, he's a little weaker, and he sees something in Corey. He sees maybe he sees the little hurt or in pain that the town has created in him. And maybe that's why he kind of has like a little bit of bond with him. And when Corey takes that mask away from him or wrestles it away from him, and then he just goes on that murderous killing spree. I thought it was great, man. Like I said, I went through this whole thing wanting to, being totally afraid I was going to hate it. And in the end, it's going to be very controversial. It's my favorite sequel of the entire franchise. I'm probably one of the few who will admit that, and probably one of the few who will say this is a 9 out of 10. I will never get tired of this movie. I really hope that one day, this will be revisited type deal later down the road where people will watch it and you know what, this actually wasn't a bad movie. I think it's the best looking movie of the entire trilogy. It's shot so well. I think maybe David Gordon Green was going for with the first two. All right, these are for them. This is for the studio, for the fans. This is for me. This is a more David Gordon Green movie than it is a Halloween movie. Is it a great Halloween movie? You know, a lot of people say no, but I think it's a great David Gordon Green movie.
I would like to bring up some beautiful dialogue from the band kids.
Harry, what did you do?
He fell.
Well, Dick busted it.
Is he dead?
And
His work is a dump.
It actually is a dump.
I don't have an issue with band kids being mean. Anyone can be mean. We had dickhead band kids in my school. We had dickhead football players. We also had nice football players. We also had nice band kids. I feel like anyone can be a dick. People are human beings. My biggest issue is the dialogue between them is so bad that it makes me physically ill sometimes when I hear, especially when they're on the bridge. Which, by the way, Andrew mentioned the Starfield thing, or not Star Wars thing, and of this big galaxy. Well, Haddonfield's pretty big, and I know that Corey just randomly left that dance. He's just walking down the street, and they just happen to be on the bridge right above Michael. That's where this goes down at. That alone, where I'm like, just set it up more than that of they just happen. Please just do something. That kind of thing bugged the fuck out of me with this.
You can hide bad writing when you have a formula to stick to. Writing is bad in all three of these movies. I think it's the least bad in the first one because that sticks more to the Halloween formula. So they were able to cover it up with, we kind of know what point A to point B to point C. The second one is still also, let's be honest, I think Lance said, he's Jason Voorhees.
Yes.
They looked at the kill count. They looked at the kill count man, Michael Myers, even though he's got a lot of movies, he doesn't have as many kills as Jason. We're going to kill 32 people in this movie.
He kills more people in the firefighter sequence than he kills in any other movie.
It's 8 people.
Yeah.
What?
So that one, I think the bad writing is covered by how ridiculous it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it really comes out when you have Evil Dies Tonight, when you have the two other leads, Sheriff Hawkins and her in the hospital, when you're going against the formula. And then this one went against the entire slasher and Halloween formula, and there was nowhere to hide it. You could not hide the bad dialogue. You could not hide the bad writing, the ideas. Again, and I still liked it. The one thing I will, I guess, disagree with Mike is I don't like that he can, that he would suddenly have empathy for anything. If he saw Corey down there and wanted to train him. I think you can't just introduce that finally. They did a good job of him not showing emotion at all. It's not like he's giggling as he's killing people, he's completely emotionless. So I don't like the idea that he saw something in him. I wonder if he was just I can't beat this kid right now. So I got to do something, just using smarts for it. It's not good writing. And that's I think a David Gordon Green and Danny McBride problem.
Boys who keep secrets don't get custard for dessert.
That's the brilliant writing we get in this.
Oh yeah, that one, the mom. That was a mom, right?
Yeah, and Nick Castle doing the "Hey Scarecrow, see anything you like?" There's a lot of just how did this get past any kind of like draft. I don't know if they just thought it was funny on set, and like even the whole exchange. Again, I'm back to the bridge thing, but the whole exchange between them of like, you pushed him, I didn't push him, he fell. Or it's just like, it's the interactions are just so oddly shot. Where like Mike, you said you think it's the best looking. I could not disagree more. I think it's the worst on a technical level, especially even the junkyard scene. It's so poorly composited. I couldn't tell what the fuck was going on in so much of it. And it's also the lighting. I hate the lighting in that scene. I'm like, where are these phantom lights? I'm noticing the band kids are a lot of the things I'm focusing on there.
Hold on. We haven't talked about the biggest positive of Halloween Ends. And that is when one of the dads is inside the junkyard watching Hard Target. And part of me was like, holy shit, why am I not watching Hard Target right now? Like, what's going on? You know, that's one of those things. It's like, I want to grab the old fucking 4K and polish it off and put it in and turn off Halloween Ends, because the cool kill of him driving over the person and then blowtorching the one dude, it's not even Michael. That's Corey. So it's like, dude, even that scene.
Who does Michael kill in this?
He hulks up and kills the one guy that Corey brings in.
He kills Corey at the end.
Yeah, Corey.
But he kills a guy in the Corey helps him kill somebody in the who's the fuck, I don't know who that guy
doctor,
is.
Which also too, why
the
the fuck is he targeting? Why is he like, she took Allison's promotion. I'm gonna really I need to kill her for it.
I mean, she was just playing the game, man. I mean, who are we?
Exactly. I was like, this poor girl, like she got her promotion. Like she had to fuck that old dude. Like she got her end game and now she gets fucking killed for it. Oh, poor thing.
That honestly doesn't bother me because Corey's not in his right mind at all during this movie. And he found the one person that likes him and he's already gone over the edge. So like, that doesn't bother me at all that he goes and kills them. It more bothers me that he can stomp people's heads into watermelon. But like the fact that he's killing her and thinking it's going to be okay. That doesn't bother me at all.
I don't think any of the stuff between Corey and Allison makes much sense when you put it up against even her relationship with the one douchebag in one. I think there was actually chemistry there. And maybe that's actually a part of the relationship that I have a problem with. I don't think they have any chemistry. And they make and it's back to the bad writing because I really like Andy Matichak. And I actually like that Rowan Campbell. And I saw him in something else and he was really good in it. So I know that it's all the writing here and not the actors, like, because there's literally, they do the whole impetus for them separating Allison and Corey is just him going to get a drink at the bar and then running in to the mother of the kid that he killed and then running out. And then Allison meets him in the street and it's like the most insane conversation.
Stop! Talk to me!
Why'd you take me in there? It's why I don't go out.
What?
You threw me in the middle of it, and then where were you?
What? Excuse me? I think a big part of that too is that it reflects so poorly on the Allison character, and they do I think they did such a good job in the first one, and they clearly, I think the problem is that they had their arc with her character in the first two movies. And then they realize like, oh, we have a finished character, so we have to like do something else with her, because where she ends at the end of this movie is where she was at the end of Kills. It's very frustrating that like they give this like false sense. I don't know, this like, because it's like her getting mad at Lori for just nonsense. Like it's like, oh, it takes 2 seconds for you guys to have a conversation about this, but instead it's just, I love him. Like they're not 16-year-olds. They're like in their 20s. Like, come on.
You can be with whoever you want to be with.
Her character is like a witch in this now. She's like a Wiccan bartender.
Yeah, she was really important in part 2. And then they just were like, well, you're just going to hang out. Like,
well,
anyway.
And I will say too, that's actually one of the positives I have, because it bugs the shit out of me. And it really bugged me this time in Kills, how Nurse Chambers, like she gets the stupidest death ever. She's just really dumb, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But then again, I'm like, okay, well, this isn't the girl that we know from 2 that established more of a strong woman in 2. In the first one, it's a little different.
Why is she still in Haddonfield? She
wasn't even in Haddonfield. Yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like she probably lives like 5 towns over. Why is she celebrating Tommy? He was like 12 or 8 or 10 when she was a fucking grown woman? That's so bizarre. And they never pretend like, oh, they're all friends. It's like, they wouldn't be, though. They wouldn't be. She might be like, oh, these kids. It's like, I'm 48 years old. It's like, I know, Tommy, but you'll always be a kid to me. Like that's the relationship they'd have. Like, they're like drinking buddies. It's like, bitch, you're from like the fucking 40s. He's from the 80s. You have nothing in common.
Have another beer, Tommy. He just seems like every like drunk boomer at like your hometown bar.
I love him though. I love how stupid he is and his stupid chants, his stupid reasoning. It's like, they get everybody together for a stupid idea. I'm like, oh, it's Dumb and Dumber, only my Halloween version.
I wish he was in Ends. They should have not killed him off.
No, killing him off was the dumbest decision ever. He was the lead of the whole story. Put that guy front and center and let him just do his dumb shit and we'll have a good time. It's like, rallying people around. They're just like, was it not him? Laurie, I got your back. It's like, bitch, you were 12. Like, you don't even know each other. 12-year-olds and fucking 80-year-olds it doesn't make sense. They don't even think. They just think
I was just saying, I'm glad that he wasn't in Halloween. And he's my least favorite character in Kills. So whenever I heard that, well, maybe he didn't kill. Whenever Anthony Michael was like, well, you didn't really see me die on camera, did you? I was like, man, they're going to bring him back, and that's just going to ruin it for me. And so I'm glad they didn't. So
he had better chance of coming back than Will Patton. Will Patton was fucking dead. So if we're going to bring back Will Patton, then bring back fucking Tommy and have him be all fucking crazy. It's like they establish he's nuts. It's like, okay, fuck it. Let him be the crazy political guy that doesn't know what he's doing. Like I understand why people hate him because he's dumb, but he does fit in the universe a lot better than Corey, in my argument, because they established this whole fucking town is so worried about one night 80 years ago where 3 people died, because that's all that happened. And for some reason that fucking made the whole town sketchy. So let's put Tommy in there real quick. But
they also make the argument where they're like, oh, the town needed a new boogeyman, where it's like the town still had their boogeyman. They didn't, like, Michael Myers was still out there and they didn't think he was dead. Like, what do you mean they needed their new boogeyman? Like, no,
Corey
their
was
boogeyman
scared
killed
of Michael
a bunch
Myers.
of people. Yeah. What do you mean? That line makes no sense. It's like, no, Michael Myers is still around.
I just think that maybe this town is just so broken now. Like it shows like how.
Why were they broken before though? There's only 3 girls.
Well, they're broken now.
But they were broken in 2018. 2018 was like the fucking, like we're all a sketchy town. So Halloween ends.
Yeah, I think in 2018 is mainly a few people who were broken. And then whenever Michael got released, then Laurie stirred all this shit and all this fear in everybody. And
I'm going to argue Kills starts off with like a whole fucking trio of people talking about their experience, not knowing that the 2018 shit just happened. That's the point where they're like, to Laurie, it's like, you were 12, you were a doctor from 4 times over. This doesn't make sense. Why know each other? What's going on? Why are you immortalizing one event? It's like,
but we don't see that in 2018.
No,
so I'm arguing that 2018 doesn't treat it like that. 2018, Laurie and Will Patton are the only 2 that are messed up from it because they're the only 2 that were there that night talking about it. Hills decides to retcon that by having Mega Chad, cheersing everyone in the bar for doing that. Okay. But if you're just looking at 2018, you can't take that in that movie's universe. It does it for Kills, which is stupid.
Hold on. David Gordon Green does not take 2018. David Gordon Green made a trilogy that he's proud of and promotes it, so I have to take all of it. I mean, it's like me saying, I love the 80s Star Wars, 70s, 80s Star Wars. I don't consider anything else canon, but motherfuckers will tell me all the time, but, well, if you like Rebels, obviously then the prequels exist. It's like, well, that's not cool. I guess the argument I'm making here is like, we can't pick and choose. David Gordon Green made all these fucking movies and says they're all great, they're all together. So we got to take them all at once. Like, if you were going to argue that you love 18 and you disavow everything else, then that's a fair argument, and I would then tip my hat. But if you're going to give any credit to any of these other fucking sequels, and we're all in the same boat, and you're saying that they all exist in the same universe, if that's the case, then they fucked it up by having some fucking random guys be like, Laurie.
Now, 2 things. One, I said in the beginning of this that Halloween ends with 2018 for me. There is nothing else after that.
Oh, well, you made a gesture to it. So you were saying officially on air that you actually only recognize as a nation 2018 as a movie.
For me, absolutely.
Okay, so
but
Kills and Ends don't exist. That's
on top of that.
That changes my argument.
On top of that, I go by what I'm watching in the current movie. Yes, I'm aware of everything else, but it's also like they decide to retcon everything else, but I've still seen the other Halloweens, right? So I still know that stuff happened in some form of timeline.
But you don't
I go by what I'm
acknowledge
watching
it.
on screen.
But you're saying that for Gordon Green, though, you really only acknowledge one. Like that is your era, which is fine. I do that a lot in every other movie. Okay.
I
Yeah,
just
I
say
won't watch
that
these
I
two
don't
again.
like
I'll watch
that.
2018 again.
Just have things that you don't like and like. They're all canon, though. They all are in existence.
I can't blame a man for stripping things from canon from a passionate viewpoint. I'm an asshole as well. But we can't argue. We can't argue in this because I'm considering it all as one. So like we have a fault line, which is you saying that these two don't exist. That's like I can't fight you on that because that's fucking fair. But to me, they exist. So I argue the trilogy as one movie that David Gordon Green thought he was going to fucking nail. And man, did he miss that goalpost. It was all the way over here.
What do we think his plan was before the pandemic?
All
very
in one
clearly
night. All in one night.
I think it was all in one night.
Changed. No, but I mean, outside of that, because like even
more traditional.
But even in in the Halloween Kills commentary, he makes a point of like how important this stupid radio tower is going to be. And then I feel like it ends. The only reason that radio tower is even in it is because he fucking made a point to put it in Kills.
You see in Kills where he's like,
yeah,
Haddonfield, nothing ever happens there.
He makes in the commentary, he makes it seem like it's going to be so fucking important to the new thing. And it's like, once you actually see the movie and it's like, oh, so did something change? Was like the final showdown originally going to be here? Like, I want to know what was what's different? How was this originally going to be? Because I also can't imagine that they do the Corey thing if it's all in one night.
No, I think that'd be different.
So I'm just, again, I that's the thing I'm most curious about, because David Gordon Green has said that he got bored and wanted to make a different movie. That's why it's like, I want to know, like, what was it going to be more in line? Like, was it going to, I'm just very curious because I feel like he's gotten like more dishonest about it since. I mean, it's his business. He has to protect himself. He's doing the Exorcist movies, which are an issue right now. So I think he has to be careful about what he says about, you know what I mean? Like for the other trilogy that he handled. But I want to know. We probably won't find out for another 20 years, but I want to know really badly.
Yeah, I'm curious about that as well. But I'm just really happy with what I got, man. And I will not change anybody's mind about it. I'm not here to do that. So
yeah, I think we've pretty much done it. Trying to think if there's any. There is something else I wanted to discuss since this is Halloween related. Today they just announced the Halloween cinematic universe.
Oh yes, by Miramax got the rights back.
Yes, so I think that's the perfect way to end this, is talking about, we got to see what the last Halloween trilogy, quadrilogy kind of, if you include the first. And so now this will be the next step of Halloween. And like, what do we think?
If it's Miramax, I would say ignore all the sequels past Halloween 6 and and just follow that timeline.
Cult of Thorn?
I actually really liked Halloween. Yeah, go for it, man. And try to figure out a way to bring Jamie back. Maybe she survived.
Oh, and I should say it's film and television rights.
Yeah, film and television. Yeah, just go for it.
I think at some point they're going to try to show us what happens between young Michael killing his sister and Halloween 1. I think they'll try to find something for that because that hasn't been done. Other than like Rob Zombie kind of showing it, but I think I could see them trying to expand on that.
Yeah, especially with Saw X coming out to such like high marks and doing that kind of a thing.
They'll get a new actor to play Loomis, so they'll get someone that can just be a Loomis, and they'll do a lot between them. I have a bad feeling that's part of the thing. I could see that as the TV show. The movie, who knows? They might just try to reboot it again completely. I'm starting to get tired of seeing our heroes, man. Like. I don't dislike the Friday the 13th remake where they mash the first 3 movies together kind of in the beginning and then they move on. Like, I enjoyed that one. I don't need anything else. I don't need Camp Crystal like the TV show. I don't need other stuff like that. I would also that more of the same is fine.
Yeah,
it sounds boring, but give me more 80s slasher. I would love for Halloween. Give me stuff in the Season of the Witch universe, man. Like, I don't know what else you can do with Michael Myers, but you could do 20 years after the end of the movie. Yeah, they shut off 3 of the channels, but 2 of the channels wrecked half the world, right? And see where they go from there. So give me something there, man. But I don't know. I worry, I weep for our future in that franchise.
Yeah, that's one thing that I do not want to see, and hopefully they'll change my mind. But when I saw that, I just got bummed for a minute. I think the only thing that works as a TV show is Chucky, because that's one series that pretty much has been consistent all the way through and followed like the same continuity. So the TV show works. I love that TV show to death. The Crystal Lake show, I'm not looking forward to it. If it's just like some type of prequel thing, I really don't care.
It's A24. Like, what does anyone think that A24 could do that well? Nightmare on Elm Street, maybe.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
Like, I love it, and I say that as someone who loves A24. Like, I adore A24, but it doesn't. I don't think of slasher when I think of A24. Their idea of a slasher is bodies, 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 which I don't think is a slasher. Like, so it's
not at all.
I don't know. I also don't even know if it's gonna get into production, because who knows? Like, things get announced all the time and then they don't actually happen. So anything could happen with that. All right. So anyone have any closing thoughts?
Well, I think David Gordon Green did a fantastic job with this trilogy. And I probably display those little posters on my little wall, and there I go, vertical.
I disagree. I think this was some of the worst Halloween movies I've ever seen, and I grew up during the original run. But I'm also the kind of guy that would say that as much as I love a random array of crap, so that if people love this, I would not fight them. I would just politely disagree.
I don't have a problem. I'm in some pretty toxic Facebook horror groups, some of the Joe Bob stuff and some other stuff, and just the anger that comes out of that, I don't care for. If you want to, I mean, I'm with Lance. You know, love what you love. If people love these movies, like I love how much Mike adores these movies, especially Ends. And he doesn't just like love it, you know, ironically. He genuinely loves it, and I think that's great. For me, I don't. I'm going to go see The Exorcist, but I'm like, oh God, we got 3 more of these now too with David Gordon Green. Like, stop it. I don't need you to do this 3 times with everything you liked as a kid. Like, I'm sorry to be that guy. Like, all I needed from this trilogy was Halloween 2018. I'll go back and watch the Rob Zombie ones before I'll watch Kills and Ends. Those are angry, and Rob Zombie, I think, appreciates and genuinely knows more about horror than David Gordon Green. You know, like this trilogy is fine, but it's not for me, man. And I'm going to be pissed watching these Exorcist movies, thinking like someone else could have done it. I'm going to be, you know, thinking of, you know, angry ghost William Friedkin haunting his ass when he's making these.
Yeah. All right. So we unfortunately have some negative news to talk about. The channel is unfortunately closing, and so this will be the final episode of Modern Horror Movie Talk. And so just wanted to thank you guys so much for just viewing, like being loyal viewers for Modern Horror has only been up for about 9 months at this point, but Air on the Head show has been going for couple years, and it's been awesome, like especially being able to interact with you guys in the comments, because we definitely recognize all the people who are repeatedly commenting. We know you and we appreciate it, and we will definitely still be doing other stuff. Make sure you follow us on like social media, because I guarantee you there will be something else that we're doing shortly after this ends. So yeah, I am at Zombie Victim on pretty much all social media. So check out there. That's also my YouTube channel. So feel free to check that out. And Lance, do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate everything that you guys did. It's been the world to us, and the fact that Tyler and I and Mike and Andrew could all chat and bullshit, man. It's been a time in my life. I don't know, man. It has nothing to do with being online. I would do this honestly between us as just friends. So they always say it's the journey not the destination, and this is one of those times where the journey means far more. You know, it's all the friends you made along the way. It's like, yeah, you know, it was. But I will say this: everybody's link tree or social will be in the description. So, you know, follow anybody and keep up with us on our different escapades, because there will be more stuff happening, and we'll kind of all meet somewhere and continue in some way. So either way, I appreciate it, and it's been fun making fun of Dave and Gordon Green. So thank you, Tyler.
Thanks for joining. And I should also clarify, we're all still working for Joe Blow Horror. Like this isn't, but we'll still be working together. So yeah, don't worry about that. I don't want to make it seem like everything is ending. So it's just this channel, and hopefully we'll figure something out in the future. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Andrew, Mike, for joining. And yeah, this has been awesome. And we will hopefully see you guys in a different venue. Goodbye.